Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a wonderful guest in-house today. It's Stephen Shamrock. He's the CEO of Shamrock Accounting, Consulting, and Tax. Steve, welcome.
Thank you.
We were talking off camera, and I was just fascinated by how much knowledge you have. I mean, most of the time we think, accounting and taxing, but there's a lot of backhouse stuff in there that can help a business grow. Tell me about what you do.
Sure. So one of the things that I offer is the benefit of my experience. I've been in corporate America for 25 years, started my own practice recently. I've been in companies large and small, public and private, foreign and domestic, profit, nonprofit. I also have an MBA, undergraduate in accounting, and a master's in tax right now.
Wow.
And so one of the things I'd like to do is really to help people. And some of the ways they can do that in some of the smaller companies I've been in is I've been in their shoes, right? So I understand how resource constrained smaller companies are, and also the mid-sized companies. I've been in some large companies, BP, ExxonMobil, as well as some smaller manufacturing companies and a biotech startup. And what I like to do is help people and help optimize their resources, and optimize their time. So for instance, if a company wants to change or grow, which are the companies I like to focus on, a lot of times they're resource constrained, but what you don't want to happen is for their vision to be tripped up by running out of cash or not understanding the cost in their business. So I kind of teach them, as I like to teach, about how to optimize those processes so that their financial aspects of their business don't become an impediment to growth.
Well, and I think that's a wonderful compliment to a business, because most of us get into business because we know how to do something, or we want to sell a widget or invent a widget. And I don't think often we all come with all the skills, certainly not with the credentials that you come with. So that's nice to add you to the team as a consultant in that. Tell me a little bit about, you said you like to teach. And
Yes.
and how do you like to work with your clients?
The way I like to work with my clients is to actually communicate to them why what they're doing or why what I'm saying is important. Try to connect it with their business. Because if it's not connected with their business, it's not going to matter to them. And so the way I approach clients is listen, listen, and listen. Ask questions, listen again. Try to repeat what I heard to make sure I got the message. Because if I'm trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist, I'm just wasting everybody's time. So that's what I try to do. And then what I say is, okay, it's very important to you. For instance, purchase orders. A lot of small businesses, a lot of mid-sized businesses don't use them. It's a very important cost control measure. It's very important to know how much cash you have, how much cash you're going to be paying out. And something as simple as that, saying, this is why this is important. It's to help your cash flow so you can buy that inventory. You can acquire those new customers. And I find that helps the message and the thought that I'm trying to convey stick with them.
Well, and something else that you mentioned to me off camera, which I thought was really great, is that you want to teach people so they can do it themselves.
Yes. I believe that a CPA who has your best interests in mind is going to help you succeed, whether it includes them or not. And the way I look at it is, I like to be efficient. That's why I'm a CPA. Okay. And I would feel like I was cheating them if I didn't teach them how to do it themselves. And the way I see it, it's a long-term game. If I help someone do something in a very cost-effective way, they're going to refer me. And I like to look at the long-term rather than the short-term.
That's good. How does your accounting background and your tax background help on the consulting and the business end of things? How does this it seems like a really good combination of things you're offering.
Yes. So what happens is, let's say, for instance, you want to expand a business line and say you want to go international or do exporting. Well, when you get into different lines of business, you might run into a regulatory issue, right? And you might run into certain taxes, maybe excise taxes that you hadn't been into. Or if you're international, you have to deal with international taxation, which tends to be very complex. So someone who can say, you can't expect the same profitability that you have doing today, from what you're going to do tomorrow. Your fixed cost might increase, your tax burden might increase. So you have to adjust your pricing structure, you have to address the number of people and the types of people you're going to hire. And that's all very important. You need someone to think through and plan all that out and give you a picture of what your business will like financially, instead of just assuming it's going to be like it is today.
Right, and I think lots of people just, I think sometimes just let growth happen to them and don't necessarily plan it.
Yes, and that's a good way to run out of cash. And you have to know how much cash you have access to, and how much cash you're going to need. over a period of time, 3, 6 months, year, 2 years, 5 years even. And sometimes what you have to do is talk to bankers, talk to investors early on, show them you have a plan, show them when you're going to need liquidity. And then at that point, they're going to know, number one is you know how to run your business. Number two is you know how to keep it going. Because a lot of times cash is what keeps businesses' visions from being realized.
Now, you're also a author. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, I have a book written for Wiley. I actually spent a lot of time at BP and AkzoNobel, which are international companies. And I got pretty good at international financial reporting standards, or IFRS. For those of you who don't know, these are reporting standards used in 120 countries.
Okay.
And actually, the U.S. is one of the few countries left, the few developed economies left, that uses its own standards. So it's very important for not only current accountants, because let's say, for instance, you have a major customer in Canada, which is an IFRS, you have to know the differences. You have to be bilingual. And so I wrote a book comparing the two in a very practical way. The volumes of literature in these things is like this big. I was able to condense it down to 200 pages because I just focused on the differences. And I was really delighted when I received a comment on Amazon that's saying this controller, this is exactly what I wrote it for, this controller, his boss walked in and said, we just bought a company in Canada, they're on IFRS, and he said within a weekend he read it and he knew exactly what he needed to do, and that's what I wanted to happen.
That's awesome. Well, it's such a global society now, too, and everybody, small and large, has the opportunity to be global.
Yes, yes, and as a matter of fact, there are a number of U.S. programs, federal programs, that encourage international business, such as exporting and importing, and you don't have to be too big. For instance, I have a potential client right now, a referral from another client. He's got a CrossFit business in Jordan, and now he wants to sell the business, so there's all sorts of tax implications. And so, I mean, his revenues can't be that much. I haven't got that far in the relationship, but it just goes to show you, you don't have to be very big to be international.
Now, you also, family is important to you. Tell me about that and how that impacts your business.
Yes, so as I said earlier, I spent about 25 years in corporate America, and one of the things I realized that as you get older and you want that same job, you tend to have to move. My sons, I have twin boys, they're 17, they're going to their senior year. We've just done lots of college trips. My wife is a teacher in Naperville schools, and we really like Naperville, and I don't want to relocate anymore. I also want the flexibility. Is it a lot of work? Yes, but I really don't mind working hard because I like what I'm doing, and the fact that if it's 10:30 and I need to pick up my son for a doctor's appointment, I say, hey, I've got to go, I'll be back. And there's really no one looking over your shoulder. The important part is that I deliver for my clients, and I don't think it really matters to them what I'm doing otherwise.
No, I think you actually, because of your background, you give them a wide range of experience from working for yourself all the way up to an international company. Steve, thanks for coming on and sharing your insights about what you do and that back office and everything else. So it's been great to meet you. We're going to be right back with more Business Connections. Stay tuned.